I have a lot of ideas. Oh my god, this is the most annoying farm in the world. Not all of them amount to something. Make it stop! But every once in a while, one of them turns out to be pretty good. I have the biggest headache. This one didn't turn out so well. I have a migraine now. Turns out you can't unload llamas by using minecarts and hoppers. So when a subscriber asked me to do a tutorial on sugarcane farms, it really got my brain going. And that noisy bit at the start, well, that was one of the bad ideas. Sometimes playing with the bad ideas helps you come up with the good ones. So this is your standard sugarcane farm. Piston-powered farm. It's got observers and pistons, blocks on the bottom, and then a row of blocks on the back of the pistons and redstone on top. This is how I learned to build these farms. And in searching everything on YouTube, this is how most people build them as well. The problem is they're not very efficient. Let me show you why. So sugarcane grows when the top block of the sugarcane is randomly ticked 16 times. Now, you can tell every time this piece of sugarcane is randomly ticked by the lights going off in the back. Once those lights have gone off 16 times, the sugarcane grows. At which point, the top block, the second one, is the block that gets randomly ticked. Now, on default tick speed, this is a terribly painful process since you can wait forever for that light to go. It takes on average 18 minutes for sugarcane to grow one block. And 16. And there you go. We get second block. Now you notice the light is not going off anymore. And that's because this block is now ticking or getting randomly ticked. Now, what does that have to do with efficiency? Well, when you build your farm like this, all of these blocks get ticked 16 times and they end up growing. And then as they're waiting to get ticked again another 16 times to grow up the third, one of them will make it all the way to the top, at which point that will cause all of the pistons to fire and harvest the crops, starting the cycle all over again with the first block. The problem is you get, if you're lucky, all of the blocks on the piston row plus one extra block, the one that made it high enough to trigger the observers. So for 8 plants, just like this, you would see 8 pieces of sugarcane from here and one from the top, being a total of 9. This block has been waiting 15 minutes to grow one more. And that's 15 minutes of lost time if it's harvested before it can grow. So in order for it to be the most efficient farm possible, you must harvest the blocks the second they grow. This was a terribly bad idea. So this bad idea was me getting the pistons to fire and break the blocks as soon as the observer gets randomly ticked, which causes the block to break. But there's a simpler way. So what we need is, instead of all of the pistons to fire at the same time, we need them to fire individually. And by changing the wiring configuration on the back, we can achieve that. And the nice thing is it works double-sided, so you can put them back to back. By placing a block out of the top of the observer and then a block for a piece of redstone dust at piston height is the only change you need to make. And that allows the piston that's connected to the triggered observer to be the only one that fires. Okay, so now we need to test this idea, and this is exactly what I'm doing here. So I built a standard farm on the left, and I built the modified wiring version on the right, and I planted 64 sugarcane all the way down. I was so certain of this that I actually planted all the sugarcane on the original style farm first to give it a head start. Let's go check the results. So I did increase the tick speed rate. We are running at 10 times of normal, which is why we have such a large output for only 64 plants. Okay, so the farm on the left is the standard wired. Let's see how much we've got after several hours of testing. All right, looks like we have 27 full stacks plus at least another half stack there. All right, now coming over to the farm on the right, which is our newly wired farm, which has been operating the same amount of time, you can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 36, 37, 38, 39 stacks, and another 13 sugarcane going, and that's been out of there. So by just firing the single piston connected to the observer, you end up getting 100% of your harvest without any time wasted. Whereas if we let them fire in chunks, half of these plants will not have reached their full potential, but will have spent many, many minutes trying to grow there. And that has a direct result on the final product. Okay, to build this thing is pretty simple. So you're going to need a channel for water, which is 1 deep, and then you're going to need a collection system, which is 2 deep. So you can build a little 1 deep here and 2 deep here. So you're going to put your minecart collection system down below. Right over that, you're going to pop your dirt. Then you're going to pop in some water. And then you're going to pop 2 blocks just like this right over the water. And on this first block here, you're going to pop your pistons. Come around the back here and pop your observers right on top of those pistons. Pop blocks on the back of the observers. And then redstone dust right there. And then we're going to come in and go ahead and plant your sugarcane. And then cover this all up in glass. Et voila. And there you go. And don't forget, this is relevant for all piston-based farms. Bamboo, kelp, sugarcane, you name it. A small update to your existing farm will increase your efficiency tenfold. I'm Aristotle saying good night. If you like this video or any of my others, please give me a like, throw me a subscribe, put some comments down there. I love talking to you people. Good night.